Making sure my, yep, that works. Cool, 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 cool. Bam, 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 bam. We shall see if we get any conversations going. Love you. Good night. Love you. Good night. Your curls look nice. You're welcome. Love you. He really tried. He really tried to get on camera. He thought. He looked right at my computer like, I want a hug. Like, no, ma'am. We're not doing that today. Thank you. We be boxing throughout the day. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right. If I can get everyone to continue to tap, share, and then repost, that'd be greatly appreciated. Is that what that does? Oh my God. I didn't do that. I'll just end it all now. The font is great. The font looks great. I was just rushing to get up here. Hold on, I'll fix it. We're gonna go ahead and do this. There you go. I'll do that for right now, and then I'll fix it over here. No. Here's the thing. My TISM does not allow me to explore fonts because I will sit here for like 3 hours going through every single font and being like, maybe I like the other one better. And I'll just keep going back and forth. So, no. 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 Okay. So, I see a lot of people in different discussions talking about, I'm so mad. Now I'm paranoid. Okay, so people are just like, I'm so mad every single time something else comes out in the news. But then they just sit in people's comments talking about how mad they are rather than doing something about it. So, there's a particular demographic that needs to get mad enough. Okay? A specific set of people that needs to get mad enough for change to happen, especially in the system. You said it, not me. I'm just chilling. Hi. What form of change? Um, you know, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Bart. Oh, Chicky made it over to the tubes. Hi, Chicky. So looking to black people to be like, are you upset? How do you feel about this? It's kind of a slap in the face because, like, our ancestors have put in so, like, blood, sweat, tears, sacrificed their lives. Hi, Butchie. have sacrificed their lives um, to push for change. Okay. And it definitely took, definitely took, um, these things have been moved ahead by black women, by black people. And I don't know what result people think is going to come of a bunch of black people being the resistance once again, because what has continuously happened is we have been painted as the aggressors because of the systems we live in. And if we constantly sit here and pretend that we're not in a system that has a race hierarchy or a gender hierarchy, then we're just being complicit to said system. So yes, I completely I'm totally for working within the system that we have. But if you're working within the system, then you need to make it better. You need to improve it. You need to change it. And it may be slow, it may be uncomfortable, but my discomfort shouldn't be lower priority than your comfort. Why can't we all just be comfortable? Because one thing when it comes to black women is when they, and I'm saying specifically black women, when they are a part of a resistance, when they are pushing for change, it's legitimately equality for all. That is what we go for. So it's not just for this small group or this small group. Everything that has benefited the masses that people say are intended for black people, it's benefited the masses. For instance, DEIA. They make it out to be like, oh, it's just for black people who benefited from it the most. White women, if nobody knew that, or if someone didn't know that, white women benefited the most from DEIA. Historically, women's suffrage. Oh, I was like, wait a second. Historically, feminism, when feminism did start out being like, yeah, women need the right to, be people. And it included slaves. And then after a lot of punishment of, see, the system goes back. So, for instance, there would be indentured servants, and then there were slaves. If indentured servants escaped, they would be punished. If they escaped with a slave, they would be punished more. The punishment would be harsher. So that is the system that has been built up. Is so white women are least or are less likely to reach down a hand and help someone of color. So that was the beginning. Um, yes, I agree with you, Bart. We need both in system and out of system change. We do absolutely. However, the issue is the way that people have been educated. And I noticed this, for instance, I was educated to think that communism and socialism were the devil. Okay. And that's just the way that a capitalist society has educated us because they don't want you to want that. So going back to history of the indentured servitude and stuff like that, so they were conditioned to not include people of color. So that's when feminism had another wave for women to get their rights. It was only for white women because they were conditioned not to see people of color or like indigenous people or people of color. They were conditioned to not see them as people. You see how that works? This has been working for centuries. This has been working for hundreds of years. It's going to continue to work unless we don't stay complicit in a system. Because one thing for sure is the fact that we would be able to get change and we would be able to see people as human. And I know a huge issue is the fact that we have been in a system that has dehumanized different groups of people. And they dehumanize those different groups of people. So then we feel even more detached from those different groups of people. That's why we look at like people who are pro-war right now. That's why we look at them and we're like, you sound crazy. Because we have found some sense of humanity within our brains, within our tickers, within our hearts, all that shit, right? We have found that sense of humanity. We have realized that we may be more alike than different. But there are still people that are very pro-war and all of these things because they see the Middle East as this just category. And it's not, as there are legitimate human beings there. There are legitimate, it's a legitimate society because they have been fed that Islam equates to terrorists, and that's not what it is. So you hate what you fear, and you fear what you don't know. And that continues the cycle. And that is where the hatred comes from, when people learn more about the fact that, hey, being gay isn't bad. It doesn't make you bad. It's not terrible. It's just a sexuality. Whoa. Ding, ding, ding. So they are human, yes. It's true. I don't know Sabrina Carpenter and I'm terrified of her. So these are things that I love to discuss. I want to discuss. And it's just like, once you fucking actually humanize, like, that's why they want you to just be like, oh, it's them damn illegals. That's why they want you to phrase it that way. And that's why it's important for us to phrase it as undocumented immigrants, because they are people. Listen to how people phrase when they're talking about a particular group of people, a particular group of humans. And as we discussed earlier in the week, yeah, we call people MAGA. But that is because they have subscribed to this dehumanization of others. And they are okay, like when we are talking to them and we're like, do you not care about the fact that over 160 girls were killed in this strike? Oh, well, they were just baby terrorists. No, they were babies. So it's just a matter of like, yeah, I know they call themselves MAGA, but they subscribe to dehumanizing others. They just subscribe to just tearing others down. I mean, listen, or you heard, or a lot of you were here for the conversation I had with Jay yesterday. He subscribed to the DJT train without even knowing the historical context of the shit that he was coming in chat saying. Because it was easier. It's so much easier to not give a damn about people. It's so much easier to be comfortable. It is so much easier to be complicit. But here we are. It is so much easier to ignore the fact that people that look like me are not comfortable. We live in discomfort. We have to fight for a sense of security every single fucking day. And typically that's just making it home and maybe possibly getting some sleep at night. That is our sense of comfort. So, thank you so much, Jeff. Okay, I had to make sure I actually unmuted myself over there. I didn't sign in to the chat. So, I don't know why my OBS makes me sign in every single time. All right, so hot take. I just froze. Okay, hot take. The system is designed to trick white people into thinking they're comfortable. Exactly. It's not a hot take. It's very accurate. And that's exactly why it being a multi-layered system. So you have white supremacy and then you have the patriarchy. So when you have that white supremacy, you can convince the most impoverished white man that they are better than a rich, successful black man. You can convince you can put them in that box so they feel like they are more worthy. They feel like they have more value. They have more personhood. They are more human. So that with the multi-layered system, you can convince people that they have a sense of superiority just because of something between their legs or just because of the color of their skin. So then they don't uprise or they don't speak out against the people with the money. This is to protect the people with the money. And so it's a multi-layer system. However, the classism is not as important as the white supremacy. And when I say that, I mean when it comes to tackling it. You can't tackle the classism or the class war without tackling the racism. Because, again, you have white people that they may be the most impoverished, they might be the most impoverished, uneducated, just vile human beings, right? But they could look at me and still think they have more quality as a human being. They are more of a human being than I am. To the audience, please don't turn into class reductions. Okay. Yes. And white men are more privileged. That's just how it is. You may have gone through hardships, but your hardships were not because of your race. So so basically it's just a matter of like the intersectionality of it as well. You two can come up because I can't keep up with y'all's comments and it would be easier. So Bart and Z Spark, if you want to come up and have this conversation. So I know with like the baby commies, they're very big on this is a class war, this is a class war. Yeah, underneath it all. But that is a privilege to feel that it's a class war, and that's what needs to be tackled. The crunchy leftovers. Oh, even better. That just makes me want to invite you up here more. The fuck? You're allowed to come up here and not shut the fuck up. I have a mute button. Duh. Now that's privilege. So, they want people to blame. It's fine. I'm like, seriously, if anything, I can hold my own. I trust in me. I trust in me. So come on up. Um, Parker's made it over to the tube. Y'all are great. Thank you. So basically, it's just, it's one of those things that they, it's very easy for them to, or for people to just be like, it's a class war, it's a class war. It's not a class war. Not at the top priority, I should say, or not at the top of the chain. Um, and I feel like that's something very much important to recognize. And it's a privilege to ignore that, an absolute privilege to ignore that. Ooh, Bart, this is when we're going to go back and forth. Yes, I said it's a multi-layer system. However, to sit there and say, to just be like, it's a class war, they can see it's a class war, but they still, you can be over here on the tube. It doesn't, either way works. I'm good. But you can't fix, like, you can't fix the classes, or you can't fix a class war if you still have the race aspect in there. If you have racism, you can't fix the class war. If you're talking priority, I fully agree, but it's important to recognize that it's the same system. Okay, that's why I said it's a multi-layer system. I started it out with it's a multi-layer system. So yes, you have white supremacy, you have the patriarchy, and then you have classes. However, if you don't break the people from the whole the realization of the race or being racist, then you end up with what? You end up with people then you end up with people still thinking that I am the enemy. even though I just want them to have fucking health care and food. Because they identify with the person that has their complexion that has billions of dollars. Okay, well, I do see it as layers. One layer might not be as thick as the other, but I definitely do see it as layers. Because one thing that I have noticed are the people who do deconstruct their racism. They start to see where their internalized misogyny is or their blatant misogyny is. When they start deconstructing those two, then they're like, "Oh fuck, I've been fucked this whole time. I thought just because I was palm colored with a penis, there were no worries or concerns about me. I was better than the rest." So, Z Spark said, if that the proletariat launched a revolution and won without confronting racism and sexism, the system would return to what we see now. Bing, bing, bing. There it is. And I say this with all the respect in the world because, Bart, I adore you. I truly do. But it is definitely a privilege. It is definitely a privilege to not see it as layers. To see that, or to see if we can like sit there and fight the two things at once. It's definitely a privilege. Okay. Well, you're not super disagreeing, but you're disagreeing. Oh, I'm super not disagreeing, by the way. Okay. Oh no, I will sit there and go back and forth with Bart, no problem. So, but that's because I'm a pain in the ass. But that's a big thing that I have. That's a huge issue that I have with leftists. Like a giant issue that I have with like major leftists. And this is actually a huge issue that, or Western leftists. So the US is leftist. So this is a huge issue that leftists around the world are also having, is the fact that they're like, y'all think it's just a class war? And they see the same thing. They see the abandonment of confronting the racism. And then at the same time, we also look at the people that they are so dead set on, oh, the fake outrage. And that goes along with the prompt of, does your outrage actually lead to action, or is it just to help you feel like a good person? I've said it in videos that I'm sick and tired of them being like, oh, newly uncovered voice or audio of like such and such president being racist. I am not surprised. It is not shocking. Can we please move on to the fact that it's still happening? Hello, big beautiful bill. Still my number one, like my number two bio. So those are the different things that I like to discuss and I sit there and think about often. I just want to be safe in my neighborhood. Um, Genuinely, like I want to be safe going to like the fucking grocery store genuinely, without like getting dirty looks or being called a particular name, or if I'm at the grocery store having some old white woman be like, "Oh, that EBT." Okay. Okay. Nothing wrong with SNAP. Nothing at all. Nothing wrong with SNAP. I honestly think everybody should have some type of food assistance because food's fucking expensive and they're not doing anything to change that. It's not accessible. And I'd rather I'd rather feed the frauds than take away from the underprivileged. Point blank period. And I don't think you can. I don't. It's food. I don't believe you can take advantage of a system when it comes to eating. So I'm gonna look over here. What are y'all talking about? Gilligan's Island theme song. Oh, y'all just got ADHD over here. I mean, same. I'm very neurospicy. Um, but one version, the idea is inborn superiority, but one version is obviously more directly harmful. I often get confused for MAGA, tall white bald man, tall white bald man, and they surprise when they try to talk to me. Yeah, tism engagement. I don't care. I love it. There's also that Medusa's justice. Like, I don't. Yeah, I don't think that you can take advantage of a system that you've paid into. Um, but I was mainly saying, like, for instance, um, people who like people that I've heard people be like, "Oh, you're taking advantage of food banks." What? So that's why I said that one, and like I said that one specifically. Um, However, you wouldn't have to worry about fraud if things were accessible, financially accessible. If people had equitable opportunities to be able to survive, you would have it would if you weren't if you didn't glamorize. Like, for instance, when rich people get free shit, it's for promo, it's a gift. When people in poverty get free shit, they're taken advantage. Like, let's be so for real. Um, for instance, in the South, when people duct tape shit, this is the race thing. Duct tape shit or super glue shit, it's country if you're palm colored. If you super glue and duct tape shit and you black, it's ghetto. You see? Yeah, I don't think anybody should have to prove that they deserve to eat. I think their existence is proof enough that they deserve to eat. However, I don't hold that same sentiment for, well, I don't see them as people. So I don't see predators as people, obviously, but yeah. But at the same time, how come children in schools are demonized for getting free food? However, um, correctional facilities, they get 3 meals, right? Um, Mind you, not every criminal is a predator, but it's also like people get mad about the system and how um, people in the criminal justice system get or have health care. You should be mad at the system, not the fact that people that are incarcerated are getting health care. You should be mad at the system that you also don't have health care. It's too, like, hi Everett, what's up?
All sorts of things. How are you?
Vibing, kind of. I think I'm like, I might be stimming a little bit. And that's why I'm up here just talking to myself. But
I get that.
in conclusion, white people do something. Okay. Hi, Everett.
I had a crash at it. Was it 2 days ago after the SCOTUS, uh, where I basically had that same shouting.
I'm tired of seeing people be like, I'm so sad. Why? We fucking told y'all this was coming. Why are you so sad? Do something.
Well, and I know that it's a trope with the Democrats that we didn't have enough conversations, like difficult conversations with our racist uncles and things like that. But I'm like, at this point, I actually kind of agree with that because it's not me that's going to be hurting with this. And I'm like, I should have been kicking some ass. Like,
Yeah.
I should have been meaner.
Like we've spent generations coddling hateful people, racist people, bigoted people. We've spent generations coddling them. So it's been acceptable for them to be whatever the fuck they are in silent. And then next thing you know, they got a figurehead to be outright gross and racist all over again. And now it's all up in our face. And then these are the same people who are like, "Oh, racism stopped at the civil rights like or after the civil rights movement." These are the same people that racism stopped after the Civil War.
Remind me again, how did MLK Jr. pass? You can't really say that it was over if
I think he was
one of the major leaders.
ASS. Oh. So, yeah. So, if anybody doesn't understand the ASS thing, it's because we had our favorite author, Indy, try to spell assassinate. And he just kept saying ASS. I was like, I don't think there's that many asses in there. So I didn't have spelling lessons on the bingo card tonight. Look, the tism is tisming, the ADHD is kind of calmed down. So I am very much locked in for talking about white people. So, and then it's the same people that are like, they log off, and then they're like, deal with it tomorrow. They sleep through the night. Um, and then they're in a large creator's comments talking about, oh my gosh, I just heard. And then they do it all over again. So, but also, Bart, I'm gonna talk about your people, the baby commies. Um, yeah. So the baby commies, they're all about this whole quote unquote revolution, but they can't take a word, right? Like, yeah, you're just so ageist. Let's talk about them, right? You are not a baby commie because you actually did the right thing. You voted for harm reduction. I don't even want to hear the argument about how you fucking don't. We just gonna leave it at you voted for fucking harm reduction. Crunchy ass leftovers. They want this revolution, whatever. And I legitimately cannot like it's a privileged take. But at the same time, what are y'all going to do? Burn a book in the fucking corner of a library because words are harmful to you. Like me saying, oh, wow, y'all are young is ageist, right? But when we actually say the hard things like, hey, continue to work in the system as you like disassemble the system, how dare you? You just love capitalism. I know you're 30. Bart, you act like I don't know you. I know who you are. We've had conversations. Um, so yeah, that shit pisses me off. And then they send their token black friend, and then they're all telling him what to say. And be like, "This is what they said." And then their token black friend comes up completely out of context, and then we sit there and just explain exactly what happened or exactly what the message we're getting across, and they're like, "Oh, like yeah." Because here's the cold hard truth about a revolution, right? The cold hard truth. I'm confused what bothers you, not in a rude way, like fake woke. Um, which part? What I'm saying or the prompt or like who it's geared to? Oh, well, let's see. White people and blacka, FBA. Yeah, pretty much them peoples. Um, but the biggest thing is like they're like, well, we organized. What did you organize? Did you organize for a candidate? Did you organize like where what are you pushing for someone that would be like no because communists don't vote. You are in a you are in a system of capitalism. You're mad about capitalism and you're just like, you know what, mutual aid. You know what? Give me your social security card. Give me your social security number. Says you don't give a fuck about capitalism in the system that you're in, go ahead and send me that social security number so I can get some credit cards to make sure my shit's paid for my kids. You don't give a fuck about your credit. So, but that's how we have to survive.
Well, and it's kind of messed up that the people who have the least are constantly having to help each other.
Yeah. Like, I am all for mutual aid and coming together and helping people in need, helping like level out the playing field. I'm all for it. But it's not helpful when that's it stays right there. It's not helpful. It only keeps you right there. If you opt out of change, then let's be so fucking for real. You're kind of opting out of like change.
Remember the wisdom of the band Rush. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Yeah. Silence is compliance. Complacency, your complacency is compliance. You not being or you not wanting to give up your comfort is compliance.
Even things like, so I mentioned in the comments that I'm working on trying to create a video about privilege. And one of the ways I envision privilege is that you imagine a house. And if I were to ask you what's the temperature in your house right now, you'd probably say something like 68 degrees Fahrenheit, but you're not considering the freezer. You're not considering the stove that just turned off. You're not considering the fireplace. You're not considering the stuffy attic that doesn't have proper ventilation. And that's the world. Like, the world has all of these different circumstances. And when you are privileged, you are in the ambient temperature. You are in the temperature that is set to be comfortable for you. And when somebody who has spent their whole life standing in front of the open freezer says, I'm cold, and you say, well, I don't see why, I'm fine. And even when they say, well, here, let me show you the evidence. You can see the sublimation of the ice just wafting down.
I'd advise you not to use words like sublimation because no one's going to get through that. Those are big brain words.
Okay, but you can see the mist coming out of the freezer, and like, well, and I in my ambient temperature take some of that and go, well, actually, it's the context of the ice in the freezer that's really that's throwing things off, So it's not that it's cold, because if I put it in the same temperature here, it's not misty, Well, motherfucker, I'm just part of the problem. And even if I offer you a sweater, I'm not fixing the problem.
No.
The problem is that you are stuck in front of the freezer and the freezer door is open. I could fix that. I could push people to fix it. But instead, I'm simping for the person who is actually in control of the thermostat and who decided you were going to be in front of the freezer.
It's very frustrating. I'm like in a space where I see so many people, like, going back to the people who are just so pro war right now. That's pissing me off because they're very quick to be like, well, they are terrorists. Schoolgirls at school. Do you know how they treat their women? So, yeah, let's one up them and kill their children? Kill their daughters?
And any sort of hostility, for every enemy you eliminate, you are creating an entire bloodline.
Yep.
Of more enemies. And I mean, at least, this is going to get clipped and taken out of context, but if the Iranian people are treating one another poorly, then they're creating enemies within their own government. The government is creating enemies of their own people. If we're doing it, we're creating international enemies. And we're creating enemies that are going to go after not just us, not just our innocent citizens, but those of our allies.
And then enemies within.
Thanks to
like,
yeah, yeah. I just I don't understand why people think that the kinds of intervention we have been doing for the 250 years that we've been a country are in any way effective or helpful or not self-harmful. We are punching ourselves in the dick, and we're acting like, and we're bragging about how strong we are. Like, your strength is not a good thing when you're punching yourself in the dick.
so here's another thing that people aren't talking about. It's going very no, Bart, I see you talk, I understand. So I understand the US has funded the I country. I understand that. I am and I also understand that a large percentage of the children, yeah, a large, and I listened to, like, yeah, a large percentage of the casualties have been children. So it's legitimately getting rid of bloodlines. And that goes for in um, that goes for Palestine and for Lebanon. I understand that. And I do pay attention to that. And exactly. We are legitimately exactly. So when people sit there and say the government was doing this, that, or in the third, it's not a matter of the government. It's a matter that the government is brown and Muslim. That is why they care about what the government was doing to their people, care about what the government is doing to their people more than what the I country is doing to other people's people, because they're like one of the only countries that legitimately refuses to define their borders, so they continue to seep into other people's borders. I understand. And one big thing is people cannot, they are not big brain enough to separate a government from the people. And that is why people are like, well, if you hate DJT, then you hate America. Because they're not big brain enough to know that the people, or not all people, represent their government.
Well, and with the I country, there's the leadership, the government leadership. There's the state actors who are going out internationally. There's the military who's actually doing the violence. And there's the residents. Like, I have absolutely. And then there's also, because it's an ethno state, people conflate the ethnicity with the country. So I have nothing against the ethnicity. I have nothing against with even the residents of the country. It's the people doing the violence, the people endorsing the violence, and the people who are are controlling the violence. Those are the people I have a problem with. And if you have a problem with me saying endorsing, doing, or controlling violence is a bad thing, you're not the kind of person I want on my side anyway.
Yep. So that was another thing. And one thing that I also need people to understand is, um, obviously it was not about the people, because how you go like what 2-3 weeks later and you're just like, I'm gonna basically destroy your entire civilization, whatever. Not whatever, but I mean like it just doesn't match. Like you can't say it's because they treat their people terribly and then say in like the next breath that you're going to wipe their civilization off the map. Um, People do not understand that Venezuela was the first step. Venezuela sitting there and just like threw off Cuba. Barack Obama in 2015, was it 2015 or 2014 or 2015? I believe it was 2015. So 2015, he had lightened a lot of the restrictions when it came to Cuba. They were beginning to thrive. They were beginning to be able to like not be they were beginning to thrive, point blank period. Um, then DJT came into office. Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm getting to, Bart. So yes, DJT came into the office, put all all of those, put the blockade and put sanctions back on and put those restrictions back onto Cuba, which started to crash them again. So Biden was not, I don't know if it was just he wasn't interested or if obviously everything else was on fire. So Biden did not touch things with Cuba. Okay. DJT comes back, blockade, energy shortage. So they're also struggling with getting food and everything else because when everything happened with Venezuela, that's how they were getting a lot of their resources. So then when Venezuela happened, DJT was like, you know what? Anybody who sends any type of aid to Cuba will be sanctioned, tariffed, however the fuck, whatever the fuck he thinks sanctions and tariffs are, right? Basically economically punished. So, there's that blockade. Cuba was already having like rolling blackouts, everything like that. They were legitimately just lights were about to, when I say lights were about to be out, a lot of lives were about to just be done. Okay. And Russia was the only country after the sanctions were lifted and everything like that. Russia was the only country, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying a lot of people have the denial about the whole Putin Trump thing. Russia was the only country that was able to get through the blockade any type of without any type of problem. They let them through. And that was right after Russia's sanctions also got lifted. However, right now, I think it was as of this morning, they are using half of what they typically do on a daily basis in order to conserve oil until Russia said that they will come back and bring more. But they were able to conserve oil So they're using half of the supply that they typically would to fully function. This is all to say Cuba is coming together and being uncomfortable in order to survive. And that is something a lot of white people are not willing to do because they still think it couldn't happen to them. Even though they say, oh, does this mean we're next? Communityism. So, but the thing is, their leader, I don't know what the title is. Sorry, I keep forgetting. But their leader, he's like, one thing that people of socialism know what to do is come together and revolt. It's like they don't want armed conflict. However, economically, crashing a place or starving a place out calls for some armed conflict. Like, let's be so fucking for real. Like, hey, JJ, are you going to fight for your survival? Like, are you going to fight for your survival? Or are you just going to lay down and take it? And then people are still. Violence through paperwork is just as violent as weapons. Exactly. Shit, armed violence, most times you go fast. That's not the same thing you can say for, like, fucking food. It's not something you can say when you're starving. It's long and painful. So it's legitimately, and then you still have these people who are like, hey, you know what? Let's demonize anyone from Latin America. Let's demonize any country that has been destabilized by the US. And then wonder why they are struggling. They are not struggling because of their economic system. They are struggling because capitalism has destroyed their, like, has gone after them to destroy and dismantle their system.
Yeah, and we did that because we couldn't, because, well, let me rephrase. We did that because capitalists did not want to show that there was a system that could prosper
Without,
that was not
yeah.
the one that enriched them. And as Heather just said, we create refugees and then demonize them for being refugees. That's even more true with the Trump administration because he cut funding in his first term for Honduras, Guatemala, and was it Dominican Republic? I don't remember. It's the triangle.
I never remember the triangle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can come up, Lou.
But he cut that funding, and the best way to stop immigration of any sort is to make it to where people don't want to leave. Like that's just, you are not going to get any. Ecuador, thank you, Chicky, or El Salvador, Salvador. Sorry, but you're not going to get people to come here if they don't want to leave their home.
I told you he's innocent.
I just posted a video saying he has pretty privilege.
Look at the baby. Here, Tubes. You also get to get the nitro tax.
Kitty.
Oh my goodness. He never does anything wrong. Look at that sweet baby.
He didn't like. He totally didn't break my electric kettle this morning.
Not
Did you
him
say
side eye.
electric candle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
That's
knocked my glass
appliance.
electric kettle off of my counter.
He
Oh,
says
electric
stop
kettle.
talking shit. Let him rest. The fuck. So yeah, those are things that I've been wanting to. Um, those are things I've been really wanting to talk about. Cuba, right? Because the reason why, like, Trump really wants to speed through Venezuela, I mean, not Venezuela, Iran, so then he can take care of Cuba. And it's literally him pressuring, um, it's literally him pressuring for a regime change. And that's something that, again, not many people are discussing. Um, un- Unfortunately, I'm only seeing like reports every like week and a half. Um, and
That's about how often I'm seeing them too.
yeah, and so there's that. Um, Also, we were talking about, oh, so there it's also doing this so then you can continue the cycle of capitalism, because what they're going to say is, why break a system that's working? You see all these countries and why people are coming here because we're the greatest country on earth. It's not that. It's because we're the greatest country on earth. It's the fact that we are legitimately destabilizing these countries. So, and this is one of the places that they are able to have access to.
It's also because we have some of the best marketing in the world.
Shit, we were even fooled by the marketing and the American
Mm-hmm.
dream. And we live here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that you kind of hinted at as well is the people of Cuba are hurting. You know, they're going through suffering, and they're protecting their way of life. Whereas, like you said, us YT people, we're having a protest on a weekend. You know, today was May Day. Did How many people went out to rallies? How many people still went out and supported businesses that aren't union? You know, it's we are not used to the idea of actually suffering for change. White people are bad at it.
Oh,
We're
I have
just
an
fucking
idea for
are.
you, Everett.
Yeah,
But this is for you to talk to your, um,
my demographic.
yes. I'm going to send it on Discord
Okay.
because this is one of those things. It's like, it's not going to work if it's not going to work if it's highly publicized. It needs to be a word of mouth type of thing.
Okay.
So you and Blues talk really you and Blueski talk really quick. I'm gonna type this out really quick.
So Everett, do you remember John Brown?
I do. I was actually going to ask you the
His
same
birthday's on the
question.
9th.
So you got to make those remember John Brownies.
Remember John Brown? I still like the idea of the oatmeal raisin in the sun cookies.
That's good.
Um,
I like that.
yeah.
Uh,
The, the the thing is that you have to serve them with the little cakes with the red lines on them.
mm-hmm. He just reached up and grabbed my arm or grabbed my hand and licked it and then went back to sleep or lay back down. He's doing just fine.
He's a good kitty.
No, he's not.
They're all good kitties.
He is chaos.
You should meet my son. He's 1 year old, and he is both spoiled and he is the happiest baby in the world. But nothing makes him happier than destroying everything around him.
That's my middle child. Who sniped Blue? Oh, I was like, he just disappeared off my screen when he turned on his camera.
Oh, he's awake. Or is he?
Oh my
Or is he fighting?
goodness, Mom. Look at the baby.
He's fighting it. All right.
That's our cat view. Read it, read it, read it, read it, read it.
I'm reading.
Keep reading
I will
it.
spread. I will spread the word.
Okay.
So, but like you said, quietly,
Yes.
word of mouth.
You think it's good though?
I do. Yeah.
And now you see why it has to go quiet because, yeah. All right. So anyway, we're gonna talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, if you would like to donate for, I want to get a bell. For when people like Jay get distracted, so I can be like, "Come on, hello."
I pulled my keys out, and right before we started getting him on track.
I want to go through that conversation, but I need to like still decompress from that conversation.
It was a lot.
It was a 50-minute conversation.
And then you subjected us to Indy.
I didn't. That was Trisha's payback for me because everybody thought it was her that was pranking Brett. So I let her handle that.
Mm-hmm.
Make it stop.
Hey, Cheeky. The pain. Make it stop.
Real quick.
What's up?
I wanted to say there are 12 people in this live right now, and the taps are not really going up. So if you're not going to tap, at least send like huge gifts. Okay, I mean that's the way that you make up for it. So if you don't have the coins for that, make sure you're tapping. Um, if you're not going to tap, make sure you're commenting. That's engagement. Sharing out the live. That's engagement. I believe Mia has some pay links in the place where you usually find those sorts of things. I know Blue does. So if you want to send any sort of direct aid to people, that's the best way to do it. Don't send any to me. I'm a cishet white man who's able-bodied and never known poverty a day in my life. I don't need it. The people who do are the ones you should be supporting. So that's all.
Well, that was very direct. I don't think people in this chat are used to the directness, but yeah. So where's my favorite one?
Okay, that's sort of the first cousin of a yes.
Okay, Bailey says we need to have some arguments so that way there's disagreement that brings people in here. So
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, it's a taco.
It's a sausage taco. Actually, let's see. No, because see, the tortilla or or like naan or a pita, those are unleavened. So, but the bun is definitely a yeast bread.
He said yeast, y'all. Laugh. Point and laugh. Um, no, I'm like, honestly, I really wanted to talk about Cuba, because again, tism. Um, it's not something that's being widely discussed, and people continue to like point out like Venezuela and they point out Iran, but they're not. Um, they're not talking about what's legitimately happening with Cuba, and it's like, oh yeah, my way to change the topic is asking people if they've seen the price of RAM.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten stupid expensive.
And I always get a different answer every time too. Like sometimes I'll get like a sometimes it'll be like the truck, and then they'll be like the animal. Do people buy those animals? Yeah. So um am I a gamer? Ask Blue.
She's an aspiring gamer.
I think that's an insult to aspiring gamers.
Blue, do you play anything but Pokemon?
I play all kinds of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Blue legitimately babysits me in games. Um, and by in games, I just mean Yap Yap, because that's the only one that I can play with everybody else because I have a Mac. Um, but RAM is more so for, it's good for, like, if you're big on, like, coding, programming, and stuff like that. It's not just gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think I'm going to hold on. Hi. I got to hear your voice earlier on Polly's live. All right, so I don't want to get y'all cussed out, so I'm not going to tell you to go and raid Erica Shante by saying she's a premium black. So go raid Erica Shante and tell her Mia wants an or to upgrade my black card.
Upgrade me as black card, right?
Yeah, so go to Erica Shante and say upgrade me as black card rate.
All right. Well,
See, this time I didn't just drop. I was responsible.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bye tubes.